I would like to take this time and this opportunity to speak to you about something. And while I do this, hopefully you can take yourself along a visual, imaginary ride. Consider everything you are about to endure much like a train track, and you're coming up upon it. And there's no signs that you were about to cross this railroad. But when you get there you are. So with that, I hope I can take you down this journey and this story. So with that, come along as we go down the deep, dark rabbit hole and experience. My heart is just pounding and fluttering right now, trying to imagine how to put out this massive message to everybody. Where to start, where to begin, where to go, where to create conversation of topic. Everything has so many layers and different twists to everything, but all right, let me start by telling you a story. Some time ago, I was out in my house and I heard this noise, and I knew something was up when I heard this noise. So I gotta tell you this. So I was in my new house. I was doing renovations. It's a place where I had chickens and all kinds of stuff, and we were doing remodeling to one of the rooms, and it was pretty big, and there were a few of us that were all there, so more than just me heard this. And out of nowhere, there started to be this sound that started feeling like it was coming up out of the ground. And then it felt like it was in the air, and then it felt like it was above us, and then it felt like it was like all around us. And when it started, it sounded so far away in distance. And then next thing you know, the sound just grew and became kind of overwhelming and became up on top of you. So keep that in mind as I'm trying to describe what this sound was and what it was like. So that was like a rumbling that was like an earthquake, but like a train, but like an airplane, like the sound of the thought of moving tanks, and just all this kind of rumbling and just constant growing that was so far away, and it was so loud and you could feel it, and it was so loud, and everything felt the sound as it rumbled and it moved in, and with it there was this tone. There was this tone about it. And not just me, but everybody in the house and people in the neighborhood and everywhere around, people heard it so much so it was even briefly mentioned on the news. And this was just one of the events to where there was a sound that moved through in such a way that everybody around at that moment heard that. I don't hear people talking about it so much anymore these days, but I'm sure the information's still there. Back at this time, I did research because I had other experiences too where there was this noise that was like undescribable, unique. And then I used to actually go through and I would write down all these different places all this occurred, what times, what day, what did the sound like, what was the pitch like, and then try to figure out the similarities with all these events that was happening everywhere, because some of them were quite similar and others were quite different. So I tried to take into account all these things, and I made this massive chart just going through all kinds of information just to find out that they were all done in a way to prepare everybody. But was anybody really listening? Who's talking about it now, today, at this point, in this moment, all these years later? I mean, I tried to talk about it before, and this was at the same time that I even tried talking about other things that was unfolding, such as this was during the same time frame when I ended up having the dream about the airports, and when there would be this airborne virus of some sort that was released everywhere, and airports and certain places of high traffic and travel areas of other people congregating was going to be a problem with the spreading of this, and it was going to happen in a way that somehow eventually this was going to get into the beef and be changed and be different, and nobody was going to know it until after the fact, and that it was just going to be this chain of events. And yet these chain of events have been what's been unfolding around in every way, shape, and form, and they continue to come to pass and to move through. Now, with these things, for some people who know this, know that these things have been foretold in many different ways. But the most informational one that we have access to is the one where it comes out of the book of Revelations. And in there, these things are walked through in a path and in a journey of a way that they're all pieces of information. If you seek him with all your heart, you will find him. And when you're looking for the answers for everything, and it's right there, all you gotta want to do is to call out to God, no matter where and what is going on, and you will find him. For I was put in positions to where I had to actually choose God. I mean, why would I choose anything other than God? And why would I end up being in those positions if it wasn't for the time of what we really currently are in? And everyone's been so deceived in such a way that nobody else can hear it nor see it for what it is, because they were that well deceived by everything, that everyone who mistaught information had everyone else so fooled and tricked that they could not see it, even though it was right in front of their face. And that everything wasn't quite the way it was perceived. And bits and pieces might have been twisted and altered to benefit somebody else somewhere else along the way and the line. All for things that have nothing to do with the most important thing, and that's seeking God out for everything he created to take enjoyment in. And doesn't everybody, including God, deserve and take enjoyment in praise and happiness and delight and joy and wonder? And we have to remember to be right there. And when that is still a goal and everything is falling down around you, and that is still your goal, and everything is crumbling down, and that is still your goal, to find God in everything, then everything begins to unfold in a way This should only help you see the growing magnitude of everything for what it is. For the times of everything is fast at hand. And it's being done in a way that it's unfolding as puzzle pieces come together. And the time is quickly going. And I'm trying to let you know everything as it's coming through. And with me, I'm the one individual that did her best to question, look into, research, find out more, looking over here and looking over there and going everywhere for information just to end up finding all the facts and pieces that I can get my hands on. And I continue to go forward and I continue to look, trying to find everything that would help me understand the unfolding of everything for what it is. This is time consuming, but necessary. And then trying to relate everything, knowing how it's been mistaught, misthought, misviewed, misrepresented. But yet, I was there too. I was mistaught. I had to look for the real answers and I had to dig for it. And I had to really invest. But because it was seeking out the greater understanding of everything to do with God, the good stuff, the love, the joy, the understanding of everything, and the knowledge that it is within itself just as precious. And to not give up, regardless of all these different things that are constantly coming and unfolding around, and to continue to move forward as everything just continues to begin to weigh and to keep moving forward. And the only reason any of us continue to move forward, we continue to move forward because we look forward to the day when everything is done and we are at the end. But when we are at the end of life, it is not the end. So if you're looking forward to the end of life, it's still not the end. Anyone that seems to understand or get that in a way, then you begin to understand the existence of God, a soul, a spirit, and how everything continues on. And at the same time, remembering that just because one form of life stops does not mean another form of life does not come after this life. Consider everything doesn't exactly stop. Even if everything came to a sudden and abrupt end, nothing actually stops. Life continues. We go on in a different state, in a different way, because it's a different world, because it's a whole nother state of being, because it was from decisions that we chose to make when we were here and now. And for some people, They just chose to be the way they were. Other people can't catch a break. But with this in mind, how long have I been rambling? 14 minutes. I think this is long enough of me talking about who knows what, because I was zoning. Or do I? Do you know what time we are in? Do you understand what is really going on? If you do, remember the nice spirit box messages that are up there, those are all messages from the other side. That's what they have to say. I show you how I do it. I show you how I come up with everything, and everything begins to just continue to piece this puzzle together further and further. So with that in mind, I'm going to say peace out.